Okay, so this is going to be propeller tutorial, custom props for real flight. So what I did is I've got the prop I'm going to make here, and I'm screwing the screen up pretty badly. All right, so the prop I'm going to make on a plane, and I've created a cylinder that is set straight to the middle of the hub. So um, I'll get this right eventually. I swear I will. I don't know what's going on. Every time I use Camtasia, it seems like this happens to me. There we go. I'll go back to the screen now. I'm going to set the height to be the full length, except for just a little smidgen here at the back. I want to set some more segments. These are going to be what define the shape. And 16 sides ought to be enough for the propeller. Okay, so next thing I need to do is, firstly, I like to change the color to gray. And I need to convert this to an editable poly. Okay, now that lets me grab my verts and I hit Alt X on the keyboard and I can see through what I'm doing here. So first thing, I'm going to just take this group here and I'll center it on what I'm seeing, and I'll switch to the scale tool, and I'll use just the blue handle here and shrink down and switch back to the move tool. I have a Nostromo pad that I use that helps out with that. Matter of fact, I'll just go through here and center all of this up. Okay, now I'll just switch back over and start scaling. Get a general thing going here. It's really just a general idea of how to make a propeller for those who may not have an idea how to start one. This may not end up exactly like this propeller. I don't have a bunch of different views of it, but um, should be good enough. I'm going to go to my edges. I'll select these edges because I have a bit of a roundness here that I'd like to replicate. And I'm going to hit connect and move it down a little bit, and then I'll expand it. Ta-da! Okay. All right. Same thing down here at this end. There's some roundness I'd like to show. Don't have enough detail for it, so I'm going to just put this into it. And the move tool. Okay, good. So now what I'm going to do is I want to select just the end polygon that we can't see, kind of edge onto it right now. So what I can do first is just group around it, and I can select it, and then I can hit the Alt key and select these ones, and I'll end up with just that one. That's one method. Another method would be this button up here. It's called the window crossing button, and it will only select what's completely within your selection. So from there, I'm going to go to extrude, shrink this back, and I'm going to do 4 sections here of, and then by hitting the plus sign, I'll get a new section. Just keep decreasing. That ought to work. All right. And while I'm on that, I'll go down to collapse, and collapse will take that entire end poly and it'll turn it into a single vert. I'll move that vert up like so. Let's keep working at it here, just filling away to try to get it to come into the correct shape. Okay. Alright, so now what I want to do is automatically set the smoothing groups here. Um, so it comes with some default smoothing groups. Those are going to be wrong. So I usually clear those. When you see all the numbers, you know you're cleared. And I'll put everything into one. And then I'm going to select this guy here. And we don't need him, so I'm going to delete. So now we got everything into a single smoothing group. And you can see this way we still have a cylinder. So nice easy way to deal with that is to go into the vertex mode. I'm going to select, let's just select all of it here, I guess. And with those selected, I'll go in and find the FFD 2x2x2. And this is a special tool that if I go in and select the control points, I can select just the control points on this yellow box. Then as I scale in this way, we'll end up with an ever flattening shape. Tapers. That's one way to do it anyways. I'm going to taper this in too, but not as much as the other side. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, I'm going to go into perspective. Take a look at it that way. Alright, great. So now, I like that. So I'm going to collapse all. Yes, and I'll go back to an editable poly. And the last thing to do here for me would be to move this out. Alright, and then I'm going to go to Effect Pivot Only, and I'd like to use the Quick Align tool to align this pivot to the plane, so it's at the very back of the prop. That's what we're actually looking for. And then I want to align it to the world. And what that means is I got the green arrow facing forward, just like down here in this little legend. So we know that the pivot of this blade is aligned with the world. And that the pivot is at the rear of the blade. That's very important. And also that the blade be facing down the red axis, down the x-axis. And this would be our leading edge. So I'm going to get rid of this plane so we can look at a few things here. I'm going to Alt-X to get back into it. You can see we have some rounded edges, and this is our leading edge, and usually this is going to be a blunt edge. And the front is, the back edge is going to be a sharp edge, but right now they're pretty round. So what I will do is go into this mode here. I'll select poly and I'll say ignore back facing. So when I make a selection, it'll select just what it sees here. So what I'm going to do from here is put this into smoothing group 1. That ought to work. Then I'll hit Control I on the keyboard. That'll select all the other ones. And I'm going to deselect that one group and put this into their own group. So now what you're going to see is, let's see if I can pick the right thing. There we go. What you're going to see is there's a sharp edge that runs down the back edge and a sharp edge that runs down the front edge, leading edge. What we want is a rounded edge up front here. So what I'll do from this point is go back up. I'm going to turn off that ignore back facing. I'm going to select, just keep dragging across. It'll end up being the front 4 polys along the leading edge. And boom. Okay. So now what you see is we got 4 polys on that leading edge. Well, you can see that these 4 polys are part of since I have some from the back side and some from the front side, I have two different groups there, and we're going to leave those in those two groups so that they'll continue to smooth along this border. We're going to also put them in a new group, 3. And what 3 will do for us is, as you can see, it'll round, keep that front edge round, and the rear edge will be sharp. Okay, so now what we're going to want to do is, I always mess this part up, so I'm going to deselect that, and I'm going to rotate this in the X 45 degrees. Okay, then I'm going to put a twist modifier on it, and I'm going to set the angle here to 45 degrees. Okay, so that's where I did mess up. So let me back that up. So I'm going to take that 45 out, and I'm just going to add the twist modifier to it right now. I'm going to say 45 degrees, and that would give it the wrong twist, so I'm just going to put a little negative sign here. And this would give the correct twist, since the rotation will be counterclockwise when viewed from the front, but clockwise when viewed from the rear of the aircraft. So we still have the hub being vertical here, and we have a twist just like any propeller would have. And with that twist done, we can hit collapse all. Okay, and then that'll be a simple propeller. That's the end of this video. I'll do another video, and we'll map and texture the prop real quick.